Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to create a project for Pretty Pink Posh using a new die set that just so it's not a set, it's just one piece, but it's so pretty. It's called the Elegant Pumpkin. I had created a card for the Instagram hop using something kind of similar. It was the frame. This is the fall frame. I'll show it to you real quick. And so the card, I didn't create a video for that project, but I thought I'd share with you something pretty similar. For my sentiment, I'm using the Thankful and the Woodland Thanks stamp set. It does have a coordinating die set, so we'll use that for our sentiment. Let's jump in and color in some pumpkins. So to do that, I'm going to take the die and put it on some white cardstock and run this 3 times through my die cutting machine. Now I'm using a very thick, heavyweight cardstock, so it cut all the way through, but it didn't punch the pieces out. So if you have a thinner cardstock, your pieces are probably going to fall out. I'm happy that they stayed in because it's going to be helpful when I color in with my markers. Now I'm going to color in, just doing some basic coloring. I'm going to play a little music while I color. When I'm done coloring, I will catch you back. Okay, coloring is all done. Now I did go kind of messy over my lines, but that's okay because we're not going to need the outline, just the inside pieces. Now I cut 3 out so we could layer them together for a little bit of dimension on the front of our card. I'm just going to separate all these little pieces. Now after we have this done, I'm going to take some double-sided tape and put it behind one of the pieces. This is going to give me a place to put my colored in pieces. We're going to do a little bit of inlaying, so this is going to help out. Now there's a lot of little pieces in the Elegant Pumpkin piece, but it's going to be really easy to add them to your white outline here. I'm eventually going to cut around it, but before we do that, it's really sticky, so let's go ahead and do the inlaying now, and then once we have all our pieces in there, I have a place to work around the edges here. We're going to punch this out, and it's nice because everything still stayed intact, so use your heavyweight cardstock. I'm lining up the outline of the Elegant Pumpkin, and I'm pressing in all the large pieces. There's a few little pieces that I'm going to have to use a craft tool to punch down, but for the most part everything's stuck, so that makes it so easy. I'm going to go ahead and carefully lift off my outline. You don't want to break this when you do this because you're going to actually use this for an additional layer. Since we used the white outline, we're basically replacing it. These are the little leaves on the very bottom that we're going to use our tool or your craft pick to set those in there. But once those are set, it's very easy to lift up. I'm just double checking all the areas carefully, and I think that looks so pretty with the white outline. I just love it. Even if you were to use a gold or so, even a maybe an iridescent white glitter cardstock would be really nice. I have two little pieces left, the pumpkin top here, and then there's a little piece right next to it. But that is good to go. Now I can put my thumb on my colored in image and I can fussy cut around and get rid of all that excess tape that's overhanging. So easy way to inlay. And I did that with my card that I created for the Instagram post too. So love the outcome. Now once I'm all done fussy cutting around my edges, I'm going to take those two extra dies that we cut out, two extra pieces. We're going to use some glue. Right now it's just one layer. We're going to actually layer all three of these together. So I'll take my next white piece, add glue behind it, and then we'll just place this on top of our colored in outline, the one that we went outside of the lines with. Might as well put that to good use instead of tossing it. Just adding some glue along the back side, and then we'll line it up. And so now we have two layers. And then we can take this layer, clean up my mess so I don't get glue everywhere. I'm going to flip this around and add some glue on the back side of this. I have to change my plates again. Sometimes when my die cutting plates get a little bit too old, they're not really warped, just a lot of cut lines. I think that it causes those little frays that happen on your die cutting. But I'm adding some more glue, and then this one is going to go directly on top of our colored in pumpkin. It's just going to give a little bit of dimension. It actually creates a little bit of a valley, so if you wanted to add some glossy accents or some journey glaze over it, you could very well do that, and it'll create like a stained glass look. I love that when I have dies like this. So I'm just putting my acrylic block on that to weigh it down, let it glue all together, and now we're going to create a background. I'm going to trim down a piece of cardstock to 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then I have a stencil. The stencil is Pretty Pink Posh's Lattice stencil. We're going to make a landscape style card. So I'm making sure that my diamonds are going long, basically. I have a little bit of pixie spray still behind it, not too much. I'm running out, so I need to get another can. But there's a little bit of tackiness, enough to hold it down while I add some color. I'm bringing in a Distress Oxide ink. This is Antique Linen. It's a nice, warm, soft tone. And I think it's gonna, since we have a very soft pumpkin in details, I thought this would just add to it. Now I don't want to go all the way to the edge, so I'm kind of going to create a rectangle with my ink, leaving about maybe a ½ inch around the borders. I can go heavy in the middle because that's where our pumpkin's going to be. But once I'm happy, I'll remove my stencil, and I should have a white border where it kind of fades out, adding to the soft look of our pumpkin. Love the stencil. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to just doctor up our card base a little bit more. I'm going to take in a corner rounder, and we're going to eventually round the corners, but I do want to add a little splattering. I do have acrylic paint, but sometimes acrylic paint takes so long to dry. So this is a mini ink cube. This is a mini Distress ink. And it is walnut stain. I just added some to an acrylic block and added some water, and we're going to do a little splattering in our background. I got a little heavy in that one section, but I think our pumpkin can cover that up. So that's the best thing about having a large image. It can cover up your mess ups. So I think this is already good to go. We're going to punch these top corners with our corner rounder. This is actually an envelope punch, but works just as well. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and round the corners of my card base. My card base is a standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And it's going to be, again, landscape style. Now we're going to bring in some dark brown and white baker's twine. This is on the thicker side. I've had this for a long time. I don't know where I got it, guys, but any kind of brown and white baker's twine you have would work. I'm just going to go along the left edge over here, kind of evening it out, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment. I'm using the stamp set called Woodland Thanks. There's lots of sentiments in here, but there's beautiful florals too. I'll be making a card with this soon, but there is a large thankful. I'm going to stamp this with my Memento Rich Cocoa ink on some white cardstock. And then in this Woodland Thanks die set, there's a die that will cut that out. I'm going to take that and just line it up and die cut out my thankful. Now we're going to assemble our card. I'm going to remove the release paper off of my foam tape that we added behind our panel here. This is going to go right in the center of my card base. When I added the foam tape, I actually went over my baker's twine. This helps secure it. Next, I added foam tape behind my elegant pumpkin. We're going to put this in the middle of our card, and I got lucky because all of my heavy splotches were covered. So we just have some light splatter in the background. Next, we're going to add some foam tape behind our thankful that we die cut out, and then this is going to go right below our elegant pumpkin. Now for bells and whistles, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some sparkling clear jewels. These are so pretty, and I want to keep it subtle. There's a lot going on, and I take that back. They're not sparkling clear jewels. These are Pretty Pink Posh's buttercream jewels. I'm just going to add a few here. It kind of blends softly with the background. But that is my project today, guys, for Pretty Pink Posh. I hope you like it, and I'll have the links below if you guys want to check it out. Have a great day. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.